With the release of the beautiful Avengers Tower set, the 2023 calendar year for LEGO has come to an end, and boy, were there a lot of ups as well as a lot of downs this year. This year, LEGO released over 30 Marvel sets, so we've got a lot to cover in this list. There may be just a few surprises, so make sure you stick around until the very end. Now, before we get started, I wanted to mention that I will not be including the magazine gifts on this list, as those sets, for the most part, are just minifigures, and they're also kind of hard to judge since they're a free kind of promotional gift with a magazine purchase, and they're actually only available in Europe, so when I get them, I have to spend significantly more for them to get them from overseas, so it's kind of hard to judge the value for me. With that out of the way, though, buckle up. It's going to be a long one. Here is every 2023 Marvel set ranked from worst to best. Starting this list out, I have the Iron Man Hulkbuster versus Thanos set. Really nothing special here. I feel like every kind of couple of years we get this Iron Man versus somebody kind of set, and it's just kind of boring for me, even for a 4+ set. We get another Iron Man figure, which is just a dime a dozen at this point, and another minifigure scale Thanos, which we get another one later this year. We get a couple every year at this point too, so there's nothing special here. I guess this kind of small build on the side is supposed to be the Sanctuary too. I mean, that's about as simple as you can get, and I've even seen micro scale builds that are more detailed and just better representations of that ship overall. For me, it's just kind of lazy. The Hulkbuster is pretty bad too, so it's last on the list. Up next, we have the SpiderMans Car and Doc Ock. These Spidey and his amazing friend sets have grown on me, and there's kind of something charming about them, and they do provide us with a kind of interesting and unique take on some of the kind of classic minifigures that we love. But this set is definitely one of the worst. Again, like that last set, it's just kind of boring. It's another Spidey car. Seems like we get a variation of a Spidey car every year, and their overall build is just kind of lackluster with just a little lamppost on the side. I know it's supposed to be just a $10 build and simple, but somehow it feels like there's actually less than that here for me. The next set I have is the Black Widow and Captain America motorcycles. I wasn't quite sure where to put this on this list. It's a cheap way to get a Cap and a Black Widow minifigure, but by now most people have these minifigures, so really is it necessary? Again, I'm not a fan of this kind of 4+ oversized motorcycle chassis, as they just scale really weird to minifigures and they're too specialized. There's really nothing else you can do with them, so they're not even good parts. I mean, the motorcycles are also bigger than that kind of 4+ car we just saw, so they just look out of place in my opinion. On top of that, there's no good kind of printed pieces to add any value to this set, so I'm not seeing it here. The 28th best set from 2023 is the Ghost Rider mech and bike, and I'm really just not a fan of this set. Maybe I just don't get it, but for me, this seems like a way to sell a mech with some additional pieces so you can charge more for it. It's another oversized LEGO Marvel motorcycle, and I'm just not a fan. These mech sets were always a great way to get just a cheap minifigure, but this set kind of misses that point because the added piece count also means there's an additional price. This also isn't necessarily a good piece pack either, as most of these pieces are Technic, which tend to be a lot more specified in their use, so you can't even get like some good kind of traditional system bricks here. So for me, I've got this as the 28th best set from 2023. The Hoopty is the next set on this list, and I'm not typically one to kind of complain about the price of LEGO sets, and I tend to lean towards being sympathetic to LEGO and their prices, but this Hoopty is in a world of its own, and I definitely have to factor in price to this set. Sure, you get a really good Miss Marvel minifigure, but the Monica Rambeau and the Captain Marvel figures aren't anything special. The little kittens are adorable, and they're a bright spot for this set for sure. However, the $90 price point for this ship that feels incomplete on the underside is just ridiculous. I honestly can't even justify $70 for this thing, and that's more than 20% less than MSRP. Personally, 50 sounds good. Maybe you could get away with 60 for this set, but I'm not, just here to judge this set based off the price. Let's look at the set itself. In the positives, it has kind of an interesting design. It's true to the source material for the most part. I know the back isn't the best when it comes to kind of those stabilizers or winglets and the engines. So there's definitely some room to improve there. There is a lot of room in the actual ship itself. You can get all 3 minifigures there and close the cockpit and still have additional room. So that's kind of a rarity nowadays. So from a negative perspective, outside of the price, the ship just feels incomplete. And when you look at it from the bottom, it's really just anti-studs and flat, which is a shame, especially because you're spending $90 on what just feels like an incomplete set. In 26th place, I have the Team Spidey's mobile headquarters set. While I didn't think this set would actually make it this high on this list, but as I said, 2023 was the lowest of lows, but on second glance, this set actually has a lot going for it. It has 3 unique minifigures that have been Spidey'd and his amazing friendsified, if that's even a word, one of which is pretty cool. It's Black Panther. The main bust is just a giant bulk of Lego with some added pieces, but on it, there's that printed Spidey team round plate that's used on the side, and I really like that piece. I think that piece is pretty cool, and it's printed. There's also a nice print for the grocery store sign, and then you also get that kind of rope with bars in that pink color, so that's pretty unique too. So I think this is an example of where you can actually get some value from some of these 4+ sets, and they don't necessarily feel like a total ripoff. Up next is the Wolverine Construction figure, and I'm just not a huge fan of the construction figures in Lego. In some cases, I do think that they can look really good, but in other cases, they can just look kind of goofy, and for me, this is an example of when they look goofy. I don't really like the Wolverine face mask, and those black wings coming off of it just kind of look comical and unproportional. Again, I'm not necessarily the target audience for these sets, so I don't want to be too harsh, but Legos try to make these things work for a while, and they just don't. Up next, we have the next mech on this list, and that is the Rocket Mech Armor. Like the construction figures, the mechs are getting pretty old at this point, and they're really only good for getting a cheap minifigure. Rocket is already pretty cheap on his own though, and in this case, the minifigure doesn't even come with a tail because he wouldn't fit inside of the mech with one, so that leaves quite a bit to be desired for me. I do like the tail that they built into the mech though, making it kind of unique, and then that orange and black color scheme is pretty cool and just solid for the mech overall, but just not a great set in my opinion. The 23rd best set is the Thanos Mech Armor. Unlike the previous mech, there isn't anything wrong with this one besides just, I guess, repetition. Each year, it seems like we get 1 or 2 minifigure scale Thanoses at this point, so the appeal is lost because of that. In addition, this is the second time we've actually gotten this Thanos mech before. Sure, this is a notable upgrade from that previous one, but it's still a repeat in a kind of dry sub-theme of Marvel for me. Next up on this list, we have the Captain America construction figure, and I actually think this is an example of when I like the construction figures. The Captain America one is one of my favorite superheroes in general, so I think they've actually done him pretty good justice here in being able to capture his kind of overall design and look. I do like how the figure itself is proportioned really well to that shield, and it offers quite a bit of playability for that fact. Overall, I think the face is pretty decent here too, which really is crucial to the success of these construction figures. Up next is the AntMan construction figure. This was done for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium, another solid construction figure too. In this case, we also get a nanoscale Wasp, which is a kind of welcome addition. The prints on this figure are great. I put this one slightly ahead of the Captain America figure because this set kind of has 2 purposes. It can represent Giant Man in real life. It can also represent kind of upscaled, I guess, Nano Ant-Man when he was giant in the quantum realm too, because it kind of comes with that Wasp, right? So either the Wasp is nano or everybody's nano and Ant-Man's bigger. There's just a lot that you can actually do with the kind of fun scale of this set that comes just from being a Ant-Man property. The face here is also really solid too, which I think is really crucial in the overall success of these construction figures for me. Starting off the top 20, we have the Hulk Mech Armor. This one was my favorite mech of the series. As an adult collector, this is exactly what I'm looking for in these mechs. The proportions of the mech felt right. That kind of Hulk figure has those bigger hands, and I really like that here, so you can do the Hulk smash, and I like that kind of inclusion of the giant I-beam as an accessory. This is also an opportunity to just get a solid Hulk minifigure, which I'm all for, since, you know, we see a few of them, and it's been quite a few years since we got one. I know we got one in the Spidey and his Amazing Friends sets, but this is more of a serious toned Hulk minifigure. I also really like that gamma radiation print on the front of his chest, and I think that's kind of something that can be used in custom buildings too, so a little bit more value here for me in this mech set. This next one might surprise you, and it's actually the Team Spidey at Green Goblin's Lighthouse, and I'm about to like this set way too much, so hear me out here. Yes, it's a 4+ set, and it's not the most detailed build, but there's an awful lot of good here. First of all, it comes in at $35, so this is nothing that necessarily breaks the bank. There's kind of a cool pumpkin head print at the top of the lighthouse. The lighthouse, kind of that lavender with those lighthouse prints, are really cool too. You get a few of those, and then get some blue roller coaster pieces, some gold printed coins, as well as quite a few kind of buildable ugly rock pieces. You know, when I see those purple lighthouse prints, it actually challenges me to want to use them in a mock, and kind of inspires me to just pick up Lego bricks and build. And isn't that what Lego is all about? Getting excited to build based off of something, you know, some pieces that are available, or seeing a Lego piece and just being like, I want to go build something with that. So for me, I actually kind of was surprised when I first saw the set, and I actually like it. It's really not that bad, even though it's a 4+ set. With that, our next set is the Doctor Strange's Interdimensional Portal Polybag. This is just a solid poly bag. It's a really cheap way to get a Doctor Strange minifigure, and there's a nice little build that comes alongside it. I particularly liked that micro scale city build in the background of the portal. Plus, this is a Doctor Strange with that rubbery solid cape instead of the cloth one, so it's a nice way to get your hands on that minifigure. The next set on this list is the Miles Morales versus Morbius, and this is just another kind of interesting set that I was actually pleasantly surprised with after I built it. Sure, it's another kind of Spider-Man car, but the car is actually pretty decent on its own, and it really could stand on its own outside of being a Marvel set. This was another great way to get a Miles Morales minifigure, which isn't an uncommon figure, but it's not super common, so it's nice to get another Miles. I also really like the Morbius minifigure here too. Sure, he lacks some leg and some arm printing, but the rest of the figure is just solid, and I imagine this will be the one time, or one of the very few times, that we ever get a Morbius minifigure, so definitely a welcome inclusion to the collection. Also, the small but simple potions builds is just a really cool building technique that I liked, and to me this set is just kind of classic Lego Marvel, an okay-ish build with some good minifigures that are hopefully exclusive. Up next is the Taxi Gift with Purchase set for purchasing the Avengers Tower. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to include this set on this list, since technically it's a gift with purchase and it isn't available to purchase at retail, but then I decided I just wanted to see kind of where it would stack up against the competition, and the only reason I really have it this high on the list is because it's an exclusive set, which definitely adds appeal to me as an adult kind of collector of Lego. The Taxi though is pretty blah, and it's very, very simple. It's about as simple as it could be. It does come with some nice prints, which is an added bonus, but the minifigure selection is pretty bad. You get a nice Avengers cap that came with that Kevin Feige minifigure, but other than that, you get 2 more Outriders, which are, we've got a billion of those. You get a Black Panther, which at this point we've gotten a billion of, so there's really just a lot to be desired, and I wish they were able to do something a little bit more special for the gift with purchase. The 15th best set of the year is the Avengers Advent Calendar. Another year and another Advent Calendar. Now, I did want to mention that for those that are still enjoying this Advent Calendar, because I'm recording this as of December 3rd, I don't want to spoil this for anybody, so feel free to skip ahead about 30 seconds or so to avoid any spoilers for the Advent Calendar. You've officially been warned. Okay, so there are some things that I liked here and some things that I really didn't like. I did want to just mention too, the packaging inside has changed. It's now just kind of cardboard. So for those that like to use that kind of like traditional egg tray style packaging to sort bricks, you're out of luck here. This is just a cardboard container now. But that aside, starting with the stuff that I didn't like about the Advent Calendar is that there's just so many wasted days here. You get those Spider-Man Splat and Blast web pieces as one day, and then you also get the Doctor Strange cape has 1 day. Yes, just the cape itself is 1 day, that rubbery cape. Literally, that's 2 throwaway days. On top of that, that Captain America that you see on the front of the packaging, actually that wings that he has, that built up wings that he has, is a separate day too. So there's 3 wasted days here. So, you know, it just felt like so much wasted space for an advent calendar, and like they were kind of out of ideas or didn't know what to include in the set, which is really a shame. A lot of the days are kind of letdowns if you're opening it up day by day. You're okay, I got a cape from a minifigure that I already had. Like, I was expecting that anyway. So just a lot of misses here for me. On the positive side, it's always nice to get some of those ugly Christmas sweater minifigures, super collectible, super awesome. And this year we got 2, one for Spider-Man and one for Black Widow. So there's a little bit of positives here with this set. Otherwise, just pretty mid, and I honestly probably have this a little bit too high on the list. Up next on this list, we have the Marvel CMF Series 2. This year we got the 2nd series of the Marvel CMFs, and it was a slight disappointment in my eyes. Yes, I know the packaging change really sucked, and personally I think it's really sad to see people opening these up and just ripping open the boxes at store. That's definitely not the solution to this packaging change. Aside from that though, the series was overall fine. It was based off the Disney Plus shows, which I think is a miss. I'd much rather see them do like a complete kind of comic Marvel CMS series, or even just an MCU kind of ultimate version of these minifigures series. But maybe when it's all said and done, this will be the only way that we could get some of these Disney Plus minifigures, so it might have some value in future years. You know, the Wolverine and the Hawkeye are definitely kind of letdowns for me. We've already gotten them 4 times each at this point. I think the Hawkeye we've actually gotten 5 times at this point, so they're just nothing special. But other than that, there are some really strong minifigures from a minifigure perspective. The Giant Man is great. The Echo minifigure is really great. The She-Hulk figure is great. And the Moon Knight figures are also great. And then the rest of the minifigures, other than the ones that I mentioned, are all really solid. Like I said, I just wish this was based off of their other properties, as, you know, the Disney Plus stuff is just kind of okay for me, and I really would have liked to see kind of a comic Marvel CMF series. I don't know, like a Galactus minifigure would have been really, really cool. A potential surprise is next. I have the Captain America's Shield. This is another Marvel set that I was kind of surprised by this year when it was first revealed, and it may actually go down as the most repetitive building experience of all time. That being said, the end product is pretty great, and the shaping of the shield is quite impressive, and it's a technical marvel from a Lego perspective. You can actually see some of that really intricate work that had to be done when you look at that star on the front. But I think what Lego did is they had that really strong kind of Thor's hammer last year. They wanted to come out with this set, and overall it just kind of missed the mark for me, as it's just kind of this heavy bulk of bricks, and the building experience is just terrible. I have it this high on this list because it is just a technically impressive build, even though the experience sucks. The 12th best set of the year for me is the Guardians of the Galaxy headquarters. This is a pretty solid set for what it was. Sure, it could have been a little bit bigger, which would have been nice, but you got to remember this is a $10 set. It was a cheap way for people to get the StarLord minifigures as well as the Groot minifigure, and this came with just enough of a build to get the job done. For me personally, I would have liked to kind of seen a little bit more action with this set. It would have been nice to maybe have included the Adam Warlock minifigure, so there could have just been a little bit more of a story here, a little bit more to do with the set, because it's not really a display piece, but it's also kind of missing the important play aspects of a play piece. So overall, this set's fine for what it is. Up next is the Venomized Groot. You know, I know this is something Marvel has been doing recently in their Venomverse, but from a Lego perspective, it was definitely just a little bit random, especially because we got kind of a regular buildable Groot this time last year, which is just a superior set to this one in my opinion. Aside from that though, this is still the kind of that same technically impressive build, and it's actually got a little bit of a cheaper price point than the previous Groot, which is definitely nice. That being said, with limited room on the shelf, I really can't see myself displaying this one for much longer, because I'm gonna just, you know, display that regular Groot, and I'm gonna have to kind of sacrifice this one to free up some space because there's just so many Lego sets these days. So for me, kind of just forgettable random Lego set. The next set on this list is the Amazing Spider-Man art set. Now technically, This is a Lego art set, but I am counting it here too. This set was another surprise set for the year, but just a welcome one for me anyways. As of a one-off, I think it's a really cool idea, and it's really more supposed to represent the art that we see in the comic books, and using those round Lego pieces works really well for that kind of old school style of comic printing. So I kind of like that. Kind of looks like a blown up kind of comic cover, or just kind of a section from the inside of a comic book, and it is a really cool build. I think for some people it might be a little bit of a boring kind of building set. You just hang it on the wall, you can't really do anything with it, but its uniqueness definitely adds to the collection for me. And I think, you know, when comparing it to sets like the Captain America shield, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards this amazing Spider-Man set overall, so that's why I have it this high on the list. The 9th best set of the year is the Baby Rockets ship, another Guardians of the Galaxy 3 set that is pretty solid. The ship build is great and pretty accurate to the source material. I do think this set would have just been better overall if this ship actually appeared in the movie for more than just literally like 2 seconds. The Baby Rocket is a cute addition to the Rocket minifigure collection, and the Rocket minifigure itself is great in his Guardians 3 outfit. Overall, a solid set that I think, again, would have been better had there been a little bit of more emotional weight and emotional appeal tied to it, because it really didn't play a big role in the movie, and had it, I think it would have just been better overall. Up next, I have the StarLord's Helmet set. Overall, I really liked the StarLord's helmet. I think the build was cool, and the printed pieces that came in the set were a nice touch. I'm really glad we didn't have to use stickers there. There's some great design and some great shaping that's captured in Lego form, and this just kind of reminds me of the art that you can build with Lego. I did find it funny, though, that Lego had some actual marketing images of this set being used as a pencil holder, so not really sure if that one worked, because it really doesn't work well as like a pencil holder, plus you'd get like ink and stuff on the inside, but I'm here to judge the set, not their marketing strategy. I do think, though, it adds some uniqueness to the helmet collection, and it does look really great on display. My main gripe with this set is just the price tag of $80 just felt pretty excessive to me. I think 60 or even 70 would have been much better, like we had seen from the other helmets, and like we'll see from the next set on this list, spoiler alert. But overall, again, great representation of the StarLord helmet in Lego form. It just, at that price, it felt a little bit incomplete. Maybe they throw some hair in, or maybe they just lower the price, and I think it would have been a knock out of the park for me. The following set, though, is from that same collection, and that is the Wolverines adamantium claws. This set felt much better on the price compared to the last one, and it's just as, if not a more impressive build. It looks really polished on display. Those gray adamantium claws and then that dark blue hand just kind of contrast each other so well, and Lego has once again shown their ability to sculpt a near perfect hand out of Lego bricks, and this is just a really polished set that looks really solid on display. The next best set is the Endgame Final Battle. So this is where things start to get pretty hard on this list, and we've entered the top 6 of 2023. As I was writing this list, I actually initially had this list a little bit higher on the list, and then I bumped it down after kind of, you know, writing my rationale for the other sets. And the reason I really lowered this one is because of 2 things. The price felt a little bit rough for just a display piece that is literally just a bunch of debris from the Endgame compound, and I'm not really a fan of kind of that main suggested display. That kind of tower of debris just looks a little bit off to me, and it certainly looks much better when it's actually fanned out in that kind of full out display. Had this been the first time, though, that we got a Thanos big fig with a removable head, I would have probably had this a little bit higher, because that would have just been a huge upgrade. But aside from that exclusive Thanos, but not unique Thanos, and the exclusive Valkyrie in the set, there's actually no other exclusive minifigures here, which is a point against this set for me, because there's quite a few minifigures included in this set, and you want that kind of added exclusivity, and it just is missed in this set for me, especially at that price. Starting off the top 5, I have what may be a bit of a surprise here with the new Guardians ship, and I really like this set. And I think it might be a little bit of a surprise, because I feel like the set kind of just came and went and was forgotten about. I didn't see a lot of people posting about it on Reddit or, you know, YouTube videos or anything like that. And I really quite enjoyed it. I thought the ship design was unique and unlike anything that we had seen from Marvel or Lego Marvel before. And the colors of the ship actually really pop out on display in that kind of vivid teal and magenta color just stand out on the shelf, and it particularly looks really good next to kind of all the other orange Guardian ships that we've seen. So it just kind of adds some color and adds some pop to this overall collection. Now, I know some people were disappointed that not all the minifigures, had unique torsos, right? They kind of share that Guardians 3 torso, but for me, when I look at those kind of minifigures from the whole and look at the Guardians 3 minifigures versus the kind of previous movie editions, they definitely kind of have their own uniqueness and their own charm to me, and it is pretty accurate actually to the movie, so I'm okay with it. I placed it here because the last kind of the last 5 sets, it definitely felt the most repetitive, and those engine builds being mirrored like they are was a little bit of a drag to get through, but overall I was pleasantly surprised with this one, and I think it's a must-have. The 4th best set of the year is the Hulkbuster, the Battle of Wakanda, and dare I say it, is this the best Hulkbuster we've ever gotten? It certainly is from my perspective. Sure, it's a little too tall compared to regular minifigures, but this small $50 set does a better job capturing the shaping around the Hulkbuster shoulder and head than that $500 UCS one did. It also features an upgraded Bruce Banner minifigure, which is a welcome addition to the collection, and the rest of the Hulkbuster build itself is just impressively detailed for the size of this set. Overall, a highlight of 2023 for me, but still a bit of a drag since we've actually seen a Hulkbuster at this point, every year, and it's kind of quickly becoming the, Luke's land speeder of the Lego Marvel world. Up next, I have the Spider-Man Final Battle Set, another Final Battle Set, this time from Spider-Man No Way Home. What an excellent set. Where the Endgame Final Battle falls short, this one exceeds. There are 7 exclusive minifigures to this set, and it's really great to get kind of the trio of different Spider-Man all in their kind of original movie attire, and the set itself looks pretty decent on display too. There's some action in here. There's a portal in the back. Sandman's hand can kind of move around and pop out from the top, and like the Endgame Final Battle set, this set does feel just slightly overpriced, but there's at least a little bit more exclusivity here, and I think the main build actually just looks better on display as a whole. Coming in at 2nd place is the Avengers Quinjet. Now I know, another Quinjet, but like the Hulkbuster that came out at the same time as this set, I think this is also the best Quinjet that we've gotten so far. The cockpit shaping is great, and that connection to the main body is something that they fixed from the original one. The ability to hide the landing wheels is also a great inclusion. From an overall shaping perspective, this is the best Quinjet that we've gotten, and the curves of the main body and wings are captured really well. In addition, this one comes with a stand, which was a really nice touch too. And then lastly, you were actually able to choose one of 2 ways to even sticker this set. You could choose the Avengers version, or you could choose the Shield version, which I just kind of thought was a nice touch and one that I've never really seen in Lego before. From a minifigure perspective, it's great to get, most of the original Avenger minifigures here in an upgraded 2023 version, since it's been more than 10 years since we originally got their kind of representations from the first movie. And that means the last and certainly the best set of 2023 is the Avengers Tower. This set single-handedly saved 2023 for Lego Marvel in what would have been a pretty mediocre year. It may go down as, and currently is, my favorite Lego Marvel set of all time. Each level is jam-packed full of details and scenes from the original Avengers movie, Age of Ultron, as well as Endgame, and just what a glorious set with a whopping 31 minifigures included in what I think is the best version of Vision that we've gotten to date. We also get a Kevin Feige, which is a pretty cool inclusion too, and other minifigures that I really liked from this set were Eric Selvig, Dr. Cho, and Alexander Pierce, as we've not seen any of them in minifigure form before. If I had one gripe with this set, it would be that they did not include a Stan Lee minifigure. I mean, this just would have been the perfect time to include a Stan Lee minifigure, and definitely a miss in my opinion. This set, however, towers over the competition this year, and it is the ultimate addition to any Lego Marvel collection. Well, that is my ranking for all the 2023 LEGO Marvel sets. In total this year, there was 31 sets. And like I mentioned, it would have been somewhat of a mid-year had it not been for that amazing Avengers Tower at the very end here. Last year, I was told I wasn't hard enough on some of the sets, so this year, I didn't hold anything back. Now, I'd like to hear from you. What was your favorite 2023 Marvel set? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm sure I'll see a lot of Avengers Towers down there before, so if I was too harsh on a set, let me know which one do I need to reconsider as well. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and joining in the conversation in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.